Well, today we are going to be diving into chapter 10 of The Science of Getting Rich. Hi, my name is Alan Vukas, and it's so good to see you here on this adventure in prosperity. Every day I take, Monday through Friday, I take a little time every day to contemplate principles of prosperity, especially as it is outlined. What I'm calling Adventures in Prosperity is a dive into the science of getting rich by Wallace Wattles. If you're not familiar with this book, it was the basis for The Secret, the movie that's best-selling or blockbuster, whatever. It was a big movie. If you remember The Secret, if you didn't see The Secret, maybe you should check it out and see what a lot of people loved about that movie. But every day I take some time to contemplate the principles of prosperity, to not only dilute, but to eradicate, to wake us up from the trance of scarcity that so many of us have been put into. We've been hypnotized by the idea or the belief that there's not enough time, not enough energy, not enough resources, not enough love. Even many of us who believe that the world is on an evolutionary track and that we are on the brink of something even greater, that something greater is being birthed in the world today. Unfortunately, I think many of us who even hold that view are coming from a place not that how wonderful everything is, because this is the means by which life is bringing us even greater, more good. I think there's some of us who are actually wanting the present conditions and circumstances of the world to pass away because we don't like them, and we're reaching and grasping for the better and more. And that's a competitive thinking, as Wattles talks about. It's a zero-sum thinking that there's only so much pie that's available, only so many slices of pizza, and I better get mine before everyone gets theirs, or there's not enough pie or not enough pizza right now in the current world, and we need to bring more in. And that's not creative thinking. It's not in keeping with the principles that we've been learning by Wallace Wattles. So let's go ahead and take a look. So up to this point, what we have uncovered is, I'm just going to go to the end of chapter 10. Wattles talks about, here are the basic facts. These are the statement of facts as he's outlined up till now, and how to utilize this science of getting rich. And why we call it a science? It's because it works for everyone. It isn't dependent on the color of your skin, or how old or how young you are, how many opportunities you have, or any of that. That is not what's called for. But let's go ahead and take a look at the basic facts here. Wattles writes, there is a thinking stuff. I'm on page 73 of the Tarcher Penguin edition. There is a thinking substance from which all things are made, and which in its original state permeates, penetrates, and fills the inner spaces of the universe. A thought in this substance produces the thing that is imaged by the thought. Man can form things in his thought, and by impressing his thought upon formless substance, can cause the thing he thinks about to be created. In order to do this, man must pass from the competitive to the creative mind. He must form a clear mental picture of the things he wants and hold this picture in his thoughts with the fixed purpose to get what he wants and the unwavering faith that he does get what he wants, closing his mind against all that may tend to shake his purpose, dim his vision, or quench his faith. So he says we have to have a clear image in our mind, since his formless substance clothes whatever thought that has been placed into it with substance and brings it into manifestation. For you and I to have a life that we would love to live, to be, to do, and to have, then we must have a clear image in our mind of what that looks like, and allow this formless substance to clothe that image, that vision, that dream with substance, and thereby bringing it into our experience. But in order to do that, he says that we have to have a clear mental picture, and we have to hold this picture with the purpose to get what we want with the faith that we do get what we want. We have to hold in our mind that we can, that we are on the right track. He says that in order to cooperate with this divine mind, this unlimited, infinite intelligence that knows how, not only what to do, but how to do it, then we must think and act in a certain way. And up till now, we've been talking about using our will to think in a certain way. And here, chapter 10, it is called Further Use of the Will. And I just wanted to share with you a couple thoughts from this chapter, which I thought were, there's some big ahas. Before we move into tomorrow, we're going to start with chapter 11, which is one of the milestone chapters, which is acting in a certain way. So what does he say here? Let me just read a few lines from here, and then I'll go ahead and wrap up what he's talked about with the will and bring us to the idea for the day. He starts at chapter 10. You cannot retain a true and clear vision of wealth if you're constantly turning your attention to opposing pictures, whether they be external or imaginary. So here we must have a clear vision of what it is that we would love to have, a coherent vision. Present tense, we already see ourselves having it, doing it. We're so happy and grateful, this or something greater. We know that is a check that the universe can cash. Not only can it cash, but that the funds and everything necessary for us to be, do, and have, that next level of our becoming, that vision, it is already ours by divine birthright. And so then we just have to place a demand on it, like writing a check on an account with money that is ours. We place a demand on that account so that we can then have that as part of our experience. But he says here that we cannot, so in order for us to write that check, we have to have a clear vision. But if we're constantly moving our attention to an opposing picture, what's an opposing picture of what we would love to have? Maybe what we wouldn't love to have. Maybe what is unwanted. How about the stories of how we got to this? Let me continue on here. He says, don't tell of your past troubles of a financial nature. If you had them, do not think of them at all. Do not tell the poverty of your parents or the hardships of your early life. To do any of these things is to mentally class yourself with the poor for the time being, and it will certainly check the movement of things in your direction. Let the dead bury the dead, as Jesus said. Put poverty and all things that pertain to poverty behind you. I'm moving down here to the further in the page. True, there may be good things in your existing conditions which are disagreeable. But what is the use of studying them when they're certainly passing away? And when the study of them only tends to check their passing and keep them with us? Why give time and attention to things which are being removed by evolutionary growth when you can hasten their removal only by promoting the evolutionary growth as far as your part of it grows? This is the big aha and that I want to share with you this morning. In order for us to think in a certain way, yes, we must have a vision of what we would love to be, do, and have. And we must know that it is ours already in the present tense. But something that we need to release as well, the opposing idea that we might sometimes get hung up on, is how we got here. How we got here to where we're at. So we're in a position where we're longing for better and more. There is maybe a discontent of what our current circumstances are. But let me give you an example. So if we had made plans to create changes in our life, and those changes didn't work out for whatever reason, and then we find ourselves where we are at today, where we're eager and longing for better and more, and I'm pointing over in that direction as if our good was over there. That's where we're wanting to go, and this is where we're at. An opposing picture that we might be unconsciously holding in our mind and that we need to be aware of, just so that when it comes up or we hear it or we notice it, that we acknowledge it for what it is. So here we are where we're at. If we are continuing to explain how we got here as the means to get to there, then that is an opposing image in mind. So many times I believe people try to explain how they got to here. How did this happen? Why did this happen? Who is at fault? If they only did what they said they would do, then I wouldn't be where I'm at, having to do all of this prosperity work so that I can get to where I want. I would already be there if it wasn't for A, B, C, or X, Y, Z, or Joe, or Bob, or Mary. If it wasn't for them, then I would be further down the path. And check in your heart and in your mind if there is any of that subtle energy that could be unconsciously holding you back from knowing that where you're at is, in fact, you are poised, you are ready. This is the perfect place to be right here and now in order to experience the good, the evolutionary growth that is unfolding right here and now. See, when we are holding others responsible or situations as responsible, even unconsciously, as the cause that has created this, that is competitive thinking and not creative thought. It's competitive thinking because we believe that up till now, then my good has been withheld from me, instead of everything that has unfolded up to now, even when if Bob didn't honor his word or his promises, or maybe the job that I thought was going to take me to the next stage, to the promotion, that somehow that job fell away. If that everything that has occurred up till now is part of the process of us possessing and being and doing what it is that we would love to be, do, and have. So instead of holding others at fault or situations as at fault, and as if they are the cause that has gotten us to here, and now we have to undo whatever they did to move us forward, that is, in fact, erroneous thinking that could be holding us back from moving forward. What should we hold in our minds? The last sentence that I shared there, it says, why should we study the how and the why of us getting here? Let me read this line again to you. There may be a good many things in existing conditions which are disagreeable, but what is the use of studying them when they are certainly passing away, and when the study of them only tends to check their passing and keep them with us? See, whenever we're taking the time to explain how we got here, then it keeps us stuck here because we are holding the images of thought of what everything that took place to get to here. Let's be less interested in thinking in a certain way, is to be less interested in the judgments or even the causes or the path to here. Why give time and attention to things which are being removed by evolutionary growth when you can hasten their removal only by promoting the evolutionary growth as far as your part of it goes? And what is your part? Your part is thinking in a certain way. And what are you thinking? You are thinking of what you would love to have. You're thinking that how wonderful that spirit, that life has brought you to here to open your eyes to a greater vision, and that you have the means and the ability and everything necessary in this moment. Everything has been queued up to this moment in order to move you into the next level of becoming. So instead of coming up with reasons of why we got here, then what we do is we bless it and know that it is just part of the process. It's part of the creative process in order to take us to what is next. So so in thinking a certain way, We need to bring everything into alignment to the thought of what we would love to be, do, and have. We need to bring our thinking into alignment with that evolutionary growth rather than blaming the past. Blaming the past keeps us stuck in the past. But blessing the past empowers us to step forward and releases us to step forward. If it wasn't for all of these circumstances, we wouldn't be where we're at today, stretching our consciousness to move into the next level of our becoming. This is powerful stuff. And up till now, I have been doing some of this where I have been, I wish they had did what they said they were going to do. I wouldn't be where I'm at if they had only honored their word, if they were kept their word. I am so grateful. I am so grateful that everything has worked out to bring me to where I'm at. Because if I wasn't where I'm at, I wouldn't be open to the vision of what is yet to come and what is on its way to me right here and now. So I'd like to anchor this in prayer today. Tomorrow we're going to be talking about acting in a certain way. But now when we're thinking in a certain way and it's congruent and it's aligned with our vision, then we are free. Actually, the rope has been untied from the dock and we're actually able to act in a certain way and begin to move forward in the stream, this rapidly moving stream of life. So I invite you to join me in knowing this today. The truth is there is only one power, one presence, one infinite mind. And my mind is one with that divine mind. And I know that what is true of me is true for each one of you that are listening and watching and hearing this. Each one of you that are on an adventure in prosperity, who are utilizing the science of getting rich, and everyone else. But here consciously today what I know is that there is this one mind that is acting in us, through us, and as us. And right here today, I release, I negate any opposing view, any opposing ideas, any opposing agreements to the truth of my being. And the truth is there is that power that is in me, that is in you. This power we call life. This power that we call God. And it has been awaiting our recognition. And right here and now, I recognize, I realize the power that is in me to move me and direct me and guide me. And that is what that power is doing. And I am fully cooperating with that today. I set aside any ideas of the past or any ideas that there was anything that can hold me back. In fact, the opposite is true. What is true right here in this moment is that life has brought me to this moment in order to move me into the next. And I surrender to that flow, that divine flow that knows what to do and how to do it. And I know right here and now that the vision that is in my heart, the vision that is in your heart, that however we define rich here in this moment, it is a promise by life itself to what is already ours. And I am grateful that this power and this life and this presence is carrying me into the full experience of that and so much more. It isn't dependent on my power. All I need to do and what I am doing right here is recognizing and acknowledging that power and allowing that power to do what it knows to do and what is in fact doing by means of you and me and into bringing us into that full experience of the life that we would love to live, the life that Spirit is seeking to manifest by means of us. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful that you and I are outlets of this divine mind, this thinking substance that is seeking to express in even a more powerful way than we've known up to now. I release it. I let it go. I allow it to be, and it is the truth for me and for you here today, right now. And so it is. So I look forward to seeing you in tomorrow's Facebook Live. We're going to be moving into the next chapter 11 in the Science of Getting Rich, and we're going to be talking about acting in a certain way. So far we've talked about thinking in a certain way. When the thinking and acting in a certain way, then you are in alignment with the Science of Getting Rich, and it is guaranteed. So I look forward to seeing you in tomorrow's video. Peace and love. Namaste.